Alrighty. Alrighty. It's purple. Ah, you can kind of see me. See me waving? See me waving? I need to get a thicker piece of plastic to put over there. Yeah, sorry I'm late. School's a bit rough. Math sucks. At least this time it's just the one class. Just the one class. So I'm good. So tree. What tree? I don't got a tree. Oh, you could actually see the tree out my window? Dead of winter right here. Can't hear me? No one can hear me? Let me fix that. Hmm. Hmm. Uh, can anybody else not hear me? Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. You are now listening to the storm. Okay, so the only one who can't hear me is Stu. Well, technically, she's only been on once. Uh, one was a Fan Friday, and one was um, a promotional thing. So yeah, I can kind of hear me too, babe. All right, so since we don't have many viewers, and since we don't have uh, anyone who wants to come on, I think I'll do think I'd do a little live debunking video for right now until I'm actually thinking about
changing the time for this because I think a lot of people are still 6 o'clock over in California. It's 3. California. I would prefer each fan being on once. Yeah. Okay, so a viewer sent me a video before, and I didn't quite get to watch it. It was something about Jews for white genocide or something. So let me do this. Let me do this. Oops.
I think there's a resurgence of anti-Semitism because at this in time, Europe has not yet learned how to be multicultural, and I think we're going to be part of the throes of that transfer take place. Europe is not going to be the monolith.
Let me. Shitty video quality. Deal with it. Piece of shit. Okay, so this is white genocide. I don't know. A viewer sent this to me on okay, so it says the description says Jews want to destroy Europe by genociding whites across the globe. In order for them to accomplish this, they must bring in millions of violent, primitive third worlders who would exploit and harm our people. Plan is that they outbreed us so we eventually become assimilated coffee-colored minorities. This is starting to sound really racist. It's undeniable once a nation loses its racial homogeneity, it will go into decline and will eventually be completely destroyed. All whites are becoming minorities in our own countries. Society is being destroyed by the same evil Jewish. Oh wow, yeah, this is very anti-Semitic. So let's see what evidence this video has to show that Jews want to eradicate white people for some reason. I don't know. You know, I don't know. This just popped up. I never really got to watch it, so.
I think there's a resurgence of anti-Semitism because in time, Europe has not yet learned how to be multicultural. And I think we're going to be part of the throes of that transformation, which must take place. Europe is not going to be the monolithic societies that they once were in the last century. Jews are going to be at the center of that. It's a huge transformation for Europe to make. They are now going into a multicultural. Jews will be our leading role, but without that leading role and without that transformation, survive.
I don't get it. Like, you're old. That had to be an old clip, like a really old clip, in order for them to say that Europe is not multicultural. Europe is very multicultural. The whole thing of Europe is multicultural. I mean, each country has their own culture, so I don't understand what she's saying.
What's right now at the top of the agenda for you within the JCPA?
There are two issues at the top of our agenda at the very moment. One is the unbelievably important immigration debate in this country, to make sure that immigrants from around the world, particularly have a chance here. The 12 million that just live here and do work and aren't really going home, that they have a chance to stay here justly and as legal immigrants.
Back to your question of the clash between the secular post-Christian Europe and the new immigration wave, which is essentially religious. Yes, this is exactly what is happening. There is a clash of civilizations, and in the middle of this clash of civilization,
I've always believed is a country of migrants. Some of my family came in the late 19th century. I'm Sephardi on my mother's side.
Meine Damen und Herren, ich rufe Demonstration Schöner Leben ohne Nazis, Vielfalt ist unsere Zukunft, am 6. Juni um 10 Uhr teilzunehmen. Wir müssen uns wählen. Schon aufgrund unserer Geschichte zwischen 1933 und 19 verpflichtet, Flüchtlinge anständig zu behandeln. Außerdem muss deren Leben gerettet werden im Mittelmeer. Und es muss einen legalen Weg geben, um in Europa Asyl zu beantragen. Auch Länder wie Polen, sehr katholisch, über Flüchtlinge aufzunehmen. Jedes Jahr sterben mehr Deutsche, als geboren werden. Das liegt zum Glück daran, dass die Nazis besonders vervielfältigen und schon Zuwanderer bis zum
He just said, I can't believe I just read that. Oh, and by the way, every year more native Germans die than they are born. That is very fortunate. It's because the Nazis are not very good at having offspring. So that's just wrong, because now Germany has laws against Nazism. They basically Nazism is outlawed. You can't have any Nazi paraphernalia. If you do, you're going to prison. Plain and simple. You know, so and that's also saying that, well, all Jews are, or all Germans are Nazis. No. This is political correctness gone haywire. This is fucked up. Like, okay, this guy is speaking German. He is speaking German. And to say that he's a native-born German and also Jewish, but to say that it's very fortunate for an entire people to die more than they are born that's just fucking bullshit. You can't have the actions of one group of people reflect on your beliefs in the here and now without understanding the historical premise behind it. Like I said, you know, everybody knows the Nazis. We all learned about it in school. World War II, it was horrendous. nobody likes the Jew, or nobody likes the Nazis, you know, unless if you're a white supremacist and a piece of shit. That's the only way you're going to like the Nazis. But that's like me saying that. That's like, you know, him saying that all Germans are Nazis is like me saying all blacks are criminals or all Muslims are terrorists. You know, it's not true. I don't like this guy. This guy right here, piece of shit. Just piece of shit.
Nazis sich auch nicht besonders vervielfältigen. Und schon deshalb sind wir auf Zuwanderer aus anderen Ländern bis zum 6. Juni. Tschüss.
AJC has always worked on the premise that as a minority, our strength, our well-being in America is interdependent with those of other minorities. This is it is a Jewish issue to care about around us, to care about the Lord. It is very much a Jewish issue. We do not live in an island. We do not live in a vacuum, and we need to interact, to connect, to build relationships, and to strengthen the well-being of all of. It's good for America. Therefore, it's good for the Jews.
What you're saying is, if it's good for the Jews, it's good for America. Well, I would have to disagree. You know, that's like saying, you know, oh, you should hold that to me sounds supremacist. Saying that, oh, you know, we Jews are so important. You know what? No religion, no one race is more important than another religion or race. Plain and simple. What is good for the people of America is good for the people of America. Plain and simple. I don't care where you hold your ideologies, where you land on the political spectrum. What's good for the people is good for the people. And only the people know what is good for the people. Everybody has their different thoughts. That's why we are so conflicted when it comes to politics. That is why we are so conflicted when it comes to religion. That is why we are so conflicted when it comes to bullshit ideologies as a supremacy of a given race or religion. So no, it's not what's good for the Jewish people is good for all people. You can piss off with that. And again, that looked like an older video. And I think this might be an older video too. I don't know. It's real low quality, so. Hold on. I thought my girlfriend was calling me.
How do you now see the future of the issue of immigration developing now across the whole of the European continent, based on what you're seeing there in Germany?
This is a very good point, because immigration is the future. You cannot work and live in a globalized world, in the middle of the world, in Europe, without immigration and moving populations. So you have to really make a good policy of immigration all over Europe. And we see this, that the history of Europe, with this long history of nationalism and small countries, is now getting into a crisis. So this will need a long time to make it better. But you have to confront this. You have to really deal of immigration inside Europe. This is very important. Adapt the educational system and adapt all the self-understanding of the states. They are not anymore only white or only Portuguese or only German. They are multicultural places in.
he's speaking Yiddish. I don't speak Yiddish. The Messiah will return only once. Adam, Europe, Christianity will be totally destroyed. I don't think he's saying that, but this translation could be conflated. It seriously could. I mean, the fact that this guy, whoever this I'm the victim guy is, seems like a white supremacist, an anti-Semite. I mean, obviously an anti-Semite from here, you know. So I don't know if this is the actual translation of what saying, but I'm going to be a skeptic about this and take this translation with a grain of salt.
Chrétienté sera totalement tombée. Donc je vous pose la question, c'est une bonne nouvelle que l'islam envahisse l'Europe? C'est une excellente nouvelle, ça montre une excellente nouvelle.
The Liberal Democrats will always stand up for a Britain that is open, tolerant and diverse. And in that spirit, I very much welcome the Jewish European Election Manifesto, calling for a strengthening of EU hate crime legislation. We wholeheartedly value the relationship we have with the Jewish community, both in Britain.
My concern is doing away with whiteness. Whiteness is a form of racial oppression, sure. The suggestion is that it is somehow possible to separate whiteness from oppression. There can be no white race. Phenomenon of white supremacy. If you abolish slavery, you abolish slaveholders.
Well, okay, so he says there is no way to have the white race without white supremacy. Sure there is. I'm a white guy. I'm not a supremacist. You know, there are many, many other white people out there who don't think that they are better than the next person just because they're white. And the next person is black or Hispanic or Chinese or whatever. You know, yes, there are going to be pieces of shit. There are going to be those white supremacists out there. There are. It's unfortunate. We ignore those people. We don't give them the power. And that's that. The white supremacy in America has actually been dropping dramatically. But it doesn't just go with white people. The supremacy aren't just with white people. They're with black people. They're with native people. They're with Mexican people. They're with Asian people. It doesn't matter what skin color you are. There is going to be a supremacist movement. Anybody ever heard of the Black Panthers? They're a supremacy group. They're black. So just to say that white people are the only ones who can be supremacists is it's fallacy. It's bullshit. It's a straw man. Coming from a university, you should know this. You know, I mean, that he was University of Massachusetts. You know, well, obviously, don't go to University of Massachusetts.
Abolish racial oppression, you do away with whiteness. Treason to whiteness is loyalty to humanity.
Your views are fairly well received in academia.
Yes, they're legitimate. Not to say that everyone agrees, but sure. I could not point to any examples where it has provoked political censorship. To me, whiteness is an identity that arises entirely out of oppression. Whiteness is not a culture, religion. It's not a language. It's simply an oppressive social category. Blackness.
Even fucking mean. What? Wow. Whiteness is not a culture. But yet, whites also have a diverse culture. You know, you go from Germany to Norway. Two different cultures, both white. You go from, you know, I'll even pick similar cultures. You know, the Gaelic cultures of Ireland and Scotland. They have similar cultures, but they are still different. Both of them are white. So to say that whiteness doesn't have a culture, white people do have cultures. Even here in America, you know, the different skin tones have different cultures.
Identity that can be plausibly argued to resistance to oppression. Black studies is a study of a people that has formed itself in resistance to its oppression.
And that's another argument I'm getting so pissed off about, is if it weren't for white people, blacks would have never have been slaves in the Americas. Wrong. If it wasn't for black people wouldn't have been slaves in the Americas. If it wasn't for Spanish people trading for those black slaves from the black warlords, the white people would have never had those slaves. If it wasn't for the Spanish people selling the black people that they got from the black warlords, then white people would have never had slaves. It's a domino effect. You know, so every single time, so if you're white, you know, you shouldn't have white guilt to begin with. You're not the one who had slaves. And to be completely, totally honest, most white people that are alive today in America never had ancestors that had slaves. I'm one of them. My ancestors built the railroads. I'm part Chinese. My white side of my family didn't come to America until before World War II. All right? My great-grandfather fought in World War II, and he was a Chinese man. Think about that. So I have no guilt. I'm not the one who's oppressing people. And, you know, if you're a black person using this argument, well, your ancestors, you know, put us in slavery, do your history. You know, it's a proven historical fact that your ancestors enslaved your ancestors, and the Spanish traded for your ancestors, gave the warlords weapons, you know, better weapons, so that they can get more slaves, and, you know, so they can get more resources from neighboring tribes. Those Spanish people sold your ancestors to white people. One of my subscribers, Stu, says like 5% of Americans back then owned slaves. I'm pretty sure my family was not rich. Yeah, most Americans today, you know, that had ancestry way back then in the Americas. Exactly. You are more likely to not be a descendant of a slave owner than you are.
Bring this minority together in such a way that it makes it impossible for the legacy of whiteness to continue to reproduce itself.
The Census Bureau just reported that for the first time in U.S. history, minorities now seem to be surpassing white folks in births. And the forecast is that white folks are on track to becoming, and I hate to say this, the minority in America in about 40 years.
Oh, shit. Hold on. Don't do nothing. Pause. Cultural nightmare was initiated in 1965 thanks to the Immigration of Nationality Act of 1965, proposed by U.S. Representative of New York Emanuel Celler. Am I pronouncing that right? Emanuel Celler, 3 of whose grandparents were Jewish. Sponsored by Jewish U.S. Senator from New York, Jacob K. Javitas, what the fuck ever. When the bill was passed, he gleefully announced, "Open the floodgates." The multicultural nightmare. No, multiculturalism is not a nightmare. It's unity. When we can understand another culture, we become less afraid of that culture. We become more accepting of that culture. And that's how it's supposed to be. That goes, from skin color to skin color, from nationality to nationality, from religion to religion. It should be acceptable all around, where people don't hate each other. That's the purpose of multiculturalism. So yeah, this guy, whoever, disagree with both this video and the person who put this video up. I disagree with them both.
Run by Jews. It's owned by Hollywood is run by Jews. It's owned by Jews.
So what? Jewish people are more business savvy than anything. What does that have to do with anything? That's just fucked up. I don't care who you are, where you came from, what your ideologies are. If you can conform to the laws of the land you are living in, it doesn't matter if it's here in America, Canada, Mexico, anywhere in Europe, China, it doesn't matter. If you can conform and assimilate into the culture and obey their laws, you're good in my book. Plain and simple. America is the melting pot. Everybody has said it. It is the melting pot. Yes, granted, it was to begin with, it was forced. And then people saw how great America was. I use that term great loosely, obviously. And they immigrated from wherever they were here. And it started to become more and more cultural. As a matter of fact, you could actually pretty much know exactly where someone's lineage came from in the States from, and I'm talking about white people mostly, but you can tell where their lineage came from depending on what state they were born in. For instance, if you were born in Wisconsin, you're most likely from Germany. Your ancestors are more likely from Germany. If you're from California, in that area, you're most likely Spanish. Plain and simple. Exactly. One of my subscribers, he says, this guy named 2 congressmen who were Jewish and talked about a bill that was passed. How many people who voted for that bill were not Jewish or a minority? I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure a lot of them were white liberals that were not Jewish. Jewish isn't a race, it's a religion. I think they mean Hebrew. Hebrew is a race. And I completely agree with that. How long has this video been going for? I can't tell. And I don't want to pop up the live stream. You guys got any more videos for me to watch, or seems like there's only one viewer out there? And so you know what? Yeah, I think I will change the time of Fan Fridays. Oh, I've only been on for 30 minutes. I think I will change the time for Fan Fridays. Thinking people are way too busy doing stuff at this time. So I think I might do it later next week, or I might just have a second one tonight. Hopefully more people will show up. You know what? Yeah, I'll do another one tonight. Let's say 8 o'clock Central. That'll be let's say 9 o'clock Central. That way, over on the West Coast, it'll be around 7. Over on the East Coast, it'll be 10. I think I'll just do it. I think I'll just start doing them around 9 o'clock at night, then Central Time. Yeah, I'll do it that way. Well, for those of you who are watching right now, come back at 9 o'clock. Try it again. If I don't get anybody on, I'm just going to call this series a flop, and probably just end it. I tried something new. You know, that's all you can do when you do a YouTube channel is test the waters, toe the line, see what people like and what they don't like. And this is turning out to be one of those things that people don't like. I guess you guys subscribe for the mad witch, the pissed off pagan, the angry son of a bitch who debunks social justice at every turn. So yeah, see you guys again at 9, and as always, blessed be.